What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Game Dev Unchained, the #1 game development podcast about game development and the lifestyle thereof. I am your host, Brandon Pham, and with me, I know you already see him, Ray Graham.
How you doing, man? What's up? I'm doing good. I'm hanging in there. It's all good.
All right. Before we get into it, just to remind the good people out there who don't know who you are, quick background, and then we'll go and talk about the latest season.
Sure. What am I doing now? I'm CTO of Cornerstone Interactive Studios. So my background is game dev. Been a engine and graphics programmer for many years now, like something like 27 years at this point. And worked on a bunch of different games: NBA Live, NBA 2K, Dead Space, BioShock 2. I think that's where we met each other.
Awesome.
And Splinter Cell Blacklist, but I also spent like 9 years at Unity working on graphics tech and different engine tech over there as well. So yeah, that's a short version of it.
Been around the block, please.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, we haven't talked for a while. There's been a lot that's been going on. Let's just say the last 2-3 months. All right. So if you haven't joined us in the segment before, this is when we talk about the latest and greatest. So let's go right into it. All right, so this is the Roundtable News episode. That means that we're going to talk about the latest and greatest that affects game developers. Discussing with game developers such as ourselves and our opinions. Again, I guess at this point, no one can get us fired, right? Even canceling is not even a thing, so we're good. Let's get into it.
Terrible.
Well, I mean, you kind of led into it. I mean, we talked at length last year about this, I kind of prophesized this crazy swing. We talked with them over many episodes about what's going on in the industry. I think I think this is the new stabilize. Like, we're just going to lose a bunch of people. All right. This is just going to be a slim industry going forward. You mentioned a bit about BioShock. We can talk a bit about that. The Cloud Chamber team. Your boy Rod Ferguson, who's known as whose claim to fame is at Epic Games, the original Epic Games with Gears of War. He's kind of known as the cleanup guy who makes unshippable games shippable or shipped, right? Infamously with the BioShock Infinite, right, where they were in like this development loop. Like 5+ years, no end in sight. They brought him in a year later. It's shit, right? High acclaim. Commercially, right? Did well, but not well enough to successfully squash the 6+ years of development costs, right? Rational Games went on and kind of dispersed and created a new studio. But then Rod Ferguson is back in the fold again with the BioShock. He kind of hit a BioShock franchise again. Cloud Chamber. Funny enough, it's actually longer than the BioShock Infinite. It's like 8+ years at the time, right? When it was kind of first. No,
I can't even remember.
It's a long time. Like, this follow-up have been in the talks, have been, it's kind of open out there. Like,
Actually, yeah, it was like while I was at Unity was when I heard about it. Right. So it's been, I think eight, close to 9 years. It's probably been in the works.
It's been a long time, and it's kind of like a first franchise for how long it takes. And it's kind of continuing the theme where you go on LinkedIn and you just see a bunch of people that someone is networked and to you saying that, hey, it's happened again, guys. Guess what? And it's kind of when I stopped going on LinkedIn for that week, just to kind of not be depressed. But I don't know, man. What are your thoughts about all this? I mean, this was happening, and then like a month ago, something was it Which studio was the one that kind of goes down to? I mean, Microsoft had a big layoff. Again,
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not news,
Yeah.
but they do that every couple months. But
I think, yeah, like, when we talked about this stuff before, I was like, it's the economic conditions, and it's, money's tightened. And so people are not spending money. But I think now we're clearly in the fear territory now, where folks are just being like super cautious of how they spend their money and like I don't want to if it's not like a sure thing or like a very strong signal that it's gonna be a sure thing. No one's trying to make any sort of big bets, right? And so this is where you're seeing these things happening. I think with Cloud Chamber, it's kind of more like, the game is close to being done, and so they kind of got rid of some people that they might not need, right, going
you think
forward,
it's
right?
close? You think it's almost done?
I I didn't say almost, I said close, right? And so don't ask me how I know this, right? But anyway, so I think that's kind of what it is. It's like Rod Ferguson coming in to get it over the finish line. Okay, so we don't need all of these people here. You know what I mean? And so I think that's where some of that, like Cloud Chamber specifically, is coming from. But then I think all the other things is people can't get funding, right? Because publishers are being really cautious and don't really want to make any sort of crazy bets, even though we say, right now in the industry, like we want more creativity and we don't want more of the same. No one's really willing to fund creativity without a clear signal that that creativity is going to make money, right? And so this is what we're seeing the results of this, and really I think it's like folks that are in positions like design and production and those type of roles, and art, right, are like really hurting right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, speaking of that, like through Haven, I don't know if you know any folks that they've been around for 5 years. They made a big splash in 2020. It was one of those COVID studios that me and you've been cashed in because everybody was cashing in at
Mm-hmm.
that time. But everybody was getting money. There was just a opposite problem that we're having. Everybody had money and
Yeah.
everybody was giving away money. And it was one of those studios. And so to me, it was one of the, and back then, I think I even commented to you, like, oh, it'd be interesting to see how these studios kind of pan out. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so recent news of it, they had two titles came out this week, like Thunderfold and another game, Wildgate,
Wildgate. Yeah.
which I
Yep.
commented on looking stupid.
But you know what? You know
Yeah.
what though? No, I look at Wildgate and like I would play that game.
Did you play it?
I didn't play it, but I would play that
All
game.
right.
It like
Exactly.
it seems like it would kind of tickle my fancy. Just two things about that. I didn't even know
It was
that
out.
game's out until I heard the news about it, right? And then when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, this actually looks like I would actually play this." But then I think, what hurts is like, yeah, you didn't even know it's out, but also the piggyback off of that is it's a PvP game only,
Yeah.
right? And so like the amount of people you have to play with, like team-based game, you really have to have an engaged community around it that can support it, right? And then there's costs like running servers and all that kind of stuff on top of that, right? Um, so like I think I wouldn't say it's a bad game or anything. Like it looks totally like something I would play. I was watching some videos of it and I was like, yeah, this looks good actually. It looks fun. But it's just you need to get the player base behind you and for that type of game, a PvP game, there's a lot of competition, you
Yeah.
know.
Well,
And for it to be PvP only, it's kind of hard.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of warning against, even if you have a ton of experience, we're talking about an explicit founder creating this studio
Mm-hmm.
without a player base, in Haven, you're basically starting from zero, right?
Mm-hmm.
Making a multiplayer game without the influx of players ready to go. But you were interested. didn't even know that caused a major problem when we're trying to sell units, right? I mean, you're talking
Yeah.
about. I was looking at the numbers. Both games were sub 100,000. I think White, uh, not Wild, Thunderfold, 68,000, right?
Hmm.
Which is horrific for a game that's been in development for 5%. Right. They haven't announced any layoffs or cutbacks. I think there were some adjustments, obviously, that they spoke to, but they're just and to be fair, what you're saying, a lot of people who did play it, it's fine. It was a fun game, but it was just one of those questions again. It's like, is this a time to kind of shit any type of passion niche type of games, right? And it's just this recurring thing that's been happening. It's not the
Yeah.
time to kind of bust around right now.
Yeah.
It's
I
pretty
don't, I
small
wouldn't
team
say,
too. Yeah,
yeah, I wouldn't say like niche, right? Like you can't make something niche, right?
yeah,
You have to make something that has a solid player community around it, right? I think, you know what it is, like, the quote for, if you ever watched The Wire, right? I'm gonna go off topic. You ever watch The Wire, and there's Cuddy, the guy Cuddy. I think this was like season two or season three. He gets out of jail. I think it was season three. And he gets out of jail, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna go back to that street life or whatever. And then he gets in the car, and the guy gives him a gun or something like that, to go, hey, let's go do something.
yeah.
And then he's like, man, the game done changed. And then Slim Charles just looks at him and goes, nah, man, it just got more fierce, right? And so and that's what's going on, I think, with the game industry right now is, and with like trying to make something right now, there's like a lot more work you got to do because there's a lot more competition, there's a lot more games out, to get those eyeballs, to get people engaged, and keep people engaged in your game, right? And I think a big part of, like, I think the days of like going silent for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, make it a game are just over, right? Because like the economics in this environment, the economics just don't work out, you know.
I mean, it's such a long dev cycle without faith.
Yeah,
Right? 5
yeah.
years. You relate that to a first one. 5 years for anybody. It goes through so much change. And
It's a long time.
and if
Yeah.
you're looking for, I mean, what is the target audience for those things? Let's just pick on Dream Game. I mean, it's our age. We're talking about like post
Yeah,
35 all the way to
maybe.
50. All
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
maybe, but PvP, people our age don't really play PvP.
Yeah. So like what does this
You know what
aim
I mean,
for
right?
right now, right? It's such a
Yeah.
weird, it's not what it used to be 10 years ago, right? Where people
Yeah.
would set aside the time to play these type of games. And
Hmm.
I think for certain games, like once a year, maybe, right? Um, I think, well, I mean, it's not fair, right? Battlefield Civ, all right? It's a big game, sure, right? But Battlefield overall as a series have been taking a seat back. Many, I mean, what was the last Battlefield? 2042,
Well,
which was
well, no,
4 years ago.
but that's why the one that's coming out now is going to make such a big splash, because it's been a while, and it has EA's marketing machine behind it, and
Yeah,
it is the game for EA.
it is a
Period.
good game.
It's the game for EA, right? And so they're just going to pour everything into that thing, right? And so you're going to hear about it everywhere.
Yeah, that's really
It's
good.
going to have all the news coverage, right? Like, just like indie games cannot, compete at with that, right? So like I can't even compare, Wildgate to Battlefield, right? Like this is a behemoth, right? Um, and I just think, that's what it is right now. It's like there's these behemoths that are there. Um, but even them, even, like with the Microsoft layoffs and some other big companies also trimming back, they're feeling it too, right? Because some of those behemoth games, they come out with like other AAA size games, but maybe not a Battlefield or a Call of Duty, right? And
Mm.
and those also kind of failed, right?
Yeah, it's been in terms of marketing. Yeah, I mean, the two biggest things that we've been hearing about is of course Battlefield because of its big marketing push.
Yeah.
A lot of remakes. Right, this whole week has been about Metal Gear,
Oh
and
yeah, Metal Gear. Well, Metal Gear just came out, right? Or
it's
it's an
it
early access, basically
early
early
access.
release.
So I'm seeing
Early release.
everybody, all influencers
Yeah.
are playing it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm the one kind of just like, am I betraying Kojima? Because he has nothing to do with it, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
respectfully, the gameplay have kept his name on everything. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
he's done in the past. It's great, man. It's one of my favorite Metal Gear, so I'm probably gonna buy it.
Really?
But I
Oh,
think so. I like Snake Eater is it's one of my favorites.
really?
Um,
I just thought I always thought it was weird. You're like sitting there eating snakes and stuff. But
yeah,
anyway,
I love it.
to
It's never
survive
been
last.
done before.
Yeah.
I just felt like up to that point, it was all done in PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3. It was the most refined control up to that. Everything else
Sure.
was kind of anyways, but that's been kind of the theme. It's been safe, right? We a lot of it's always been the sequels, remakes. The thing that I am surprised about, what I thought would blow up more this year, would have been the continuation of the smaller unit, right? Because last year, the year before, we just kept hearing onslaughts of the game from all the way since Fall Guys and all the way to the latest. I forget what is it. Like even Battlebit remaster, right? Which was kind of Battlefield, like the pixelated Battlefield. Like all these small
Hmm.
games had like this huge steam behind it. And then I felt like the last few months, it kind of you don't hear it as much anymore. Maybe because it just happened that back to back, there's a lot of death cycles. Um,
Yeah.
but like I haven't heard anything from that side either. It's been kind of quiet in terms of like games coming out that isn't a remake and that isn't a sequel. Uh,
Well, we just have Gamescom where a bunch of stuff got announced at Gamescom,
I didn't
right?
hear anything.
What do you
What game?
mean? You-
What game popped through your feed that you were like, oh, that's one? I mean, a couple of Chinese games. I mean, talking about Wukong,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I was like,
Some
oh,
Chinese games and like Shinobi's coming out
yeah.
and like the Resident Evil game. I guess that's new Resident Evil.
Oh,
That's not a
the
remake.
new Resident Evil, but it's a sequel, right?
Yeah,
But the new Resident Evil was
yeah,
dope, right? But like,
yeah, yeah.
all right, we
But I
can talk
mean,
about Gamescom a bit, right? In terms of trend, all right? Just to
yeah,
kind of,
but I mean, I think what you're saying, like what you're seeing is a little bit of probably the earlier layoffs and like the lack of being able to find funding for some people,
yeah,
right? So then you're not going to see big splashy announcements for weird indie games, right? Because like they're struggling to get money to even make their games. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I think that might be a part of it too. Yeah.
Well, the Gamescom just happened. Going really well. I mean, I was
Mm-hmm.
looking at the numbers, and kind of,
Mm-hmm.
um, the biggest thing with it is a global shift, right? We talk about Wukong, Chinese market has always been here, but like the triple A Chinese market kind of found itself with Wukong, and it was commented on how interesting to kind of observe that market grow from that release. And it's growing. Like there's like more games that look like Wukong. Right? Funny how Chinese companies are caught in Chinese games, right? But like Wukong itself have like branched off to seven. Like I don't even know what it is. Like like new content, right? It has like seven different
Yeah, maybe,
versions of
but it has there's a new like Game Science is making a new game entirely, right? That's kind
yeah
of in the Kong universe.
universe, which is smart, right?
Yep.
Well deserved.
Yep.
Um, but the problems that we're having in the West, and we mentioned this many times, is you're not seeing that. I mean, we talked about this many times with Capcom, for example, in the year where Western studios were closing studios and still closing studios and laying off people, they raised everybody's salaries, right? Because they did
Hmm.
so well and are
Yeah.
continuing to do so. So we're seeing that with Japanese companies, Chinese companies, and basically everywhere, even Korean companies have been seeing a lot of buzz. Um, and
Yeah.
it's it's nothing new. We always attribute it to those teams kind of staying together, right? And learning, uh, best foot forward. It's not magic, right? If our studios on this side aren't going through as many layoffs and people leaving, we would have had that kind of success, I believe, right?
Yeah. But also like Gamescom, like the ones that made the big splash was like, yeah, Onimusha. The new Onimusha was talked about. I know I'm eagerly waiting for Ninja Gaiden 4.
Again,
And then of course Silk Song is just blew the lid off of everything, right?
yeah,
So like, like I think even though there might have been not like some crazy things, I think those are some like strong, non crazy AAA games that are coming out, right?
yeah, let's move this thing.
Yeah. Although they probably have AAA like budgets, but still, because Silk Song was in development for like a long time, right? But
But let me know your thoughts about this, right? We're talking about,
yeah,
I mentioned this, I kind of joked about this, but this permanent job loss. And we know some friends, and we're seeing posts about like, oh, it's been 1 year and 5 months since I've a job. What is the job like? You know,
yeah.
and it's becoming a reality that a lot of these people are not coming back. Um, and it's
Sure.
going to be a slim industry for another 5 years until some new tech, some new breakthrough will create a need for expansion. What do you think?
I don't know. I think there might be it might be some of that, right? Because I think like in a couple of years people are going to realize, oh wait, we don't have enough games, right? And then there might be some growth. But also I'm also seeing a lot of I think some people are still being very selective. Some people are like, oh, I'm looking for, especially what I'm noticing is like, oh, I'm looking
This
for
this is
lead.
firsthand. People like still
I
rejecting.
see. I
Yeah,
know. I see it in LinkedIn. They're not necessarily rejecting, right? But I see in LinkedIn like I'm looking for senior
still holding out.
lead, director, and remote, right? And and I think like the days of remote like
Done.
there's a few places still doing remote, and I think it's more prevalent in the indie scene especially. But that's over, right? It's done, right? It's now a seller's market, and the seller is like pulling way back on anything that is like employee favorable, right? Like that's just not happening anymore, right? And I'm seeing that in like the jobs that get posted and the job descriptions and things like that, right? So I think that's also to blame, right? Because some folks are like, the world has done changed, right? Like all of this has changed now. And this pullback I'm seeing from a lot of the employers back to no, we need to be in the office. Some of them being reasonable, like, oh, okay, we have to do hybrid or whatever, right? Or you have to go into one of the office locations somewhere. But still, I think that's not helping matters because some people are just like, no. And then also like senior roles and lead roles, because there's less games happening, like those roles are just not coming, right? Um, I think I think if you're an engineer, there's a little bit more chance because you can like go work at some AI company or go work in Fang or something, right? But if you want to stay in games, it's still like, less games are being made, so there's less roles. It's just that simple, right? And so it's hitting people really hard, right? All of these changes all mixed up are contributing to like a really dire situation. Yeah.
Well, what do you think the ending is? Is this just like whoever makes it to the end are permanent ish?
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
fighting
Like
for the jobs left.
some people have argued, oh, the thing to do is to start your own company, right? But you still like you still need to eat, right? And I can tell you, start your own company is not a way to eat right
It,
away.
the way you eat less.
Right. So yeah. So I would say like you have to, yeah, you have to just try to make it through, right? Some people are lucky, you know, they have partners that are working and they can live off of the other partner's paycheck or whatever, right? But I'm sure some people are in desperate situations, right? And I don't see a large enough correction happening in time for a lot of people, right?
There's there's a there's been a thread that's kind of been um in discussion right now, right? With
Yeah.
this idea where they're throwing the baby out with the bathwater with AAA game, all of AAA games, the irresponsibility of managing have caused this collapse that's happening right now, right?
Hmm.
Uh, where me and you obviously like it's part of the problem, not the whole problem. But
Yeah.
like also like there's like this idea too, this fantasy that there's refuge in what you're saying, like building your own company, indie development. That's where it's at because that's where the games are still passionate. It's all about the love of it and not about the money. And like
Hmm.
you're probably reacting the same way. Is like the pushback on that idea is that indie games that are doing well right now, they don't scale, right? And if anything, you know, they're made in short spurts. It's the idea of, you know, to encourage small teams to stay small and
Hmm.
maximum profit, right? And right now we're having 20,000 plus people without a job. But even if indie games have been do slightly better, right? 50% even, right? There's no placement for any of these people to get
Hmm.
in the part of that for even looking at stability, right? These games are not made to last 2+ years or more after ship. I mean, it's more it's an avenue for some people, for a small percentage of people, but the vast majority of people that are struggling with now are permanently displaced, which is a very scary scenario that I've never been a part of. That I think, and kind of speaking to how the Gamescom and all these companies are flourishing, we're so far from where they are right now. Starting with having a good amount of team that stick together and stay together for a development cycle. A development
Yeah.
cycle being now 3 to 8 years. I mean, talking about Cloud Chamber, a BioShock game, right? The fourth one
Well,
having trouble.
well, well, that team one that team did not stay together,
Yeah,
right?
it's a new
That is
team.
not a it
It's
is it is multiple new teams
but it
over the
is a
years, right?
license that
Yeah.
is by name alone can sell 1,000,000 units, right? Easily.
Yeah,
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 easily.
yeah,
I don't even know, don't even care what the gameplay
yeah.
is, how it looks.
No, like it's gonna come out and it's probably gonna sell multiple millions of units and make a big splash and all that kind of stuff. Whether it will have like the longevity and be as good as BioShock or the best game in the series, BioShock 2.
Yeah.
Um I'm joking. But some people have actually said
Still a
that to
tight
me
game.
though.
It's still my favorite
Some
game,
people
dude.
yeah, some people have said that BioShock 2 is their favorite. But anyway, they might have just been saying that, I don't know. But like it will come out and it will make a big splash, right? But yeah, that game has gone through a lot of people, a lot of problems, teams growing, right? So like yeah, I wish them well though. Like I wouldn't mind a good BioShock game coming out, right? But I just think how long it's taken for sure is an example of mismanagement, like 100%, right? Mismanagement, lack of direction, right? And so now they have to parachute in the fixer, right, to fix it, right? That game should have came out 2, 3 years ago, right?
Yeah, for sure. Um,
Yeah,
that's why I'm kind of like hoping it feels like there's no new tech that's gonna drive interest into new projects right now. Not yet.
yeah,
I was kind of hoping VR AR would do it. It seems like It's kind of taking the back burner to AI right now. And then,
It's AI right now. But also, you know, that's a whole nother thing, right?
hold on.
AI, right? And how that's impacting people too.
Oh
Because
yeah.
like
So let me
that's
let
for
me
sure. That's for
let's
sure
let's
eliminating
jump right
jobs,
into that,
right?
right? That's on my list
Yeah.
right here. So the AI
Yeah.
search, we're seeing these development tools. We're seeing like
Yeah.
is it NetEase and Tencent? They were kind of teasing the like little photos with 3D crop PBR ready asset, which freaking amazing. On one is something on 3D. But like the thing that really made me, I mean, those type of AI tools, those type of things that can contribute to game development. Me and you, any developer saw that beginning past years of living. And they're like, oh yeah, naturally. The one thing that really caught me by surprise, and I would love to hear your opinion being a graphics engineer, is that Google, that stuff that the shit they're doing at Google now, the Genie. Have you seen the Genie stuff?
Which one you talk about? The video stuff?
The Genie stuff where it simulates the
Oh
environment,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
you're
yeah,
able
yeah,
to at
yeah,
least
yeah.
it's a
Nah,
walking
nah.
simulator. All right. Tell me
Yeah,
tell me
nah, nah.
what I know it's marketing hype, but
Yeah,
what
yeah, nah,
but I always look at all these
nah.
tools as like, oh, is this the worst version we'll see? Right. And then
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
gets kind of
No,
better. So what do
clearly
you think
not.
about all this?
No, no, clearly,
Describe it first and
yeah.
then let's get into it. Yeah.
Basically what they're trying to say is that they have a model that can basically simulate like a video game, right? And they released the version of this like a few months ago. It was like six, maybe last year sometime.
Yeah.
And it was like, temporarily unstable, right? So, which what does that mean? When I move the camera
Right.
and I move it back, the object that was there is no
Oh
longer
yeah.
there,
It's generating
right?
new
It's generating new
things.
frames as you move the camera around and things that it thinks should be there, but it had no sort of temporal stability, right? Which is like right, and then it was like really
Memory.
blurry.
Yeah.
And they showed like a Doom guy, and they were like a Doom simulator, and it looked horrible, right? And so now fast forward to like recently, they have a new version of it, and yeah, somebody shared with me the video. I haven't like dug too much into it, but I saw the some of their videos. It's way more temporally stable, right? So like, when you're looking around, you see buildings and they stay there and it kind of
They were painting
lot
a wall on one of the demos. They were painting a wall
yeah,
so you can leave a
yeah.
mark with that.
Yeah, a lot sharper, right? It has memory, right? Like much longer context window so it can actually remember what's going on, right? Um, but yeah, is it an open world like GTA 5? Right? Context window cannot be that big, right? So it cannot remember everything. So I'm sure it's in like a small area. And then on top of it, like what I've seen, while impressive, looks soulless.
Oh yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, of course. And so like people going down this route of thinking like that this is somehow going to completely replace like I can like I know somebody personally who's super excited of AI generating a whole entire game according to their whim, right? They're super excited about it. They're like, "Oh, I can't wait to tell it whatever I want and then I'll get the game," right? Um, what they don't understand is that those games will suck because your ideas are probably terrible, right? And then the AI on top of it will not be able to even fulfill your idea fully, right? And like I understand like how exciting it is because like I think all of us, at least some people our age, grew up watching Star Trek and the holodeck, right? And that is the kind of tech that will enable a future holodeck, right? Um, but the way there's some technical limitations to LLMs that like I think going down that route is just a dead end, right?
You think it's a dead end?
I think for this kind of stuff, using the current LLM technology,
Mhm.
right, is a dead end. I don't think you could probably make the context window bigger. You could probably, you know, make it more stable. That's how they're getting all this, like make the context window bigger so it's more stable, has more memory, right? But it still cannot replace creativity and all of that
Like
part, right?
curated content.
Yeah, and that's why it was kind of misleading when they say it's simulating, right? It's really guessing, like based on your prompts, like what this thing should look like, right? And how should I move the camera around this, right? Um, and that is not going to lead to a fun GTA type game, right? You're not going to get fun interactivity. You're not going to get emergent gameplay, right? So I think while it's cool and it's super impressive and the tech has improved a lot, right? It's like, yeah, I'm gonna replace there'd be no games but these in the future. Yeah, no. Like I think that's very wishful thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'll be the other guy. I don't think I mean the game industry started with Palm, right? We gotta say, right? And
Yeah.
the rate of improvement with these AI tools is astounding. I mean, you're talking about I think the version we're all impressed with right now is the G3, right? It's the third version. And you were talking about
Mhm.
like when you first saw it, the G2, which was whatever, right? And that was a matter of
Mhm.
probably a year or two of difference of the rate of change and improvement. And like most AI tools in the last few years, the potential is always like large and hopeful, but like the realization has been steady, right? And predictable. And
Mhm.
I'm seeing something that can change our to the experienced person, right? How we want to create. And like I do believe anyone that's creative, like I'm seeing the same with these video mods, right? Where you prompt something and you create like a little short film. To a
Mhm.
beginner, you can see the problems when they're using those tools. It's just like found the fundamental of editing, fundamentals of storytelling is not there. It looks like a bad commercial, basically, right? Or a bad music
Yeah.
video. It's just badly put together. There's no sense. There's no beginning. There's no middle, and there's no storytelling on it. But over time, if that person is dedicated, like anything, right, they can get better at it and it can become something. So I think with these uh, walking simulators, right, that
Mhm.
if they continue to polish, uh, that it could be a subgenre. I mean, it won't replace. I think it can maybe simulate elements of it, and it will take a really dedicated person with team to be a full experience. But
Sure.
it
Yeah.
can definitely do some parts of it. I mean, I saw one where someone was trying to do Red Dead Redemption. It's all like Xbox, right? Because that is the if there was ever question about what is the Mount Rushmore of games, it's all GTA games, all like Rockstar games. Like this is the epic peak of game design defined, right? Like ultimate game. You look at Rockstar, amazing. Um,
Mhm.
not enough credit was given to them. But like, yeah, someone was trying to do Red Dead, and it was just the non-game part where you're just walking around, getting on a horse,
Yeah.
right? I was like, well, yeah, they're trying to recreate it, but at the same time, it's jittering, right? It's kind of lagging a bit. But
Mhm.
like, from a person who doesn't know anything about game development, able to kind of make something that even if a team of game developers, it would have taken about a month or two to recreate this stupid thing that he's doing one to one, right? So like when I compare to things like that, like it'd be interesting to see what the team at Google is capable of, right? Because yeah, it's going to be up to them if they understand game design, create something for game developers that would
Wait,
work.
wait, hold on. Hold on, stop.
Now,
Did you just say Google understanding game design. Do you just say that out loud?
I know this thing's gonna go
What are you
out of
talking about?
fashion. It's already the team's already been played off, renamed.
Uh, yeah. I mean, like, yeah, I had to pull up the website again to refresh my memory
Yeah,
of what I saw, and it's like, yeah, I mean, it's come such a long way. Like, you have to give them props for that, and like, and they talk about the interaction horizon, and this is why, people getting super excited. You could get super excited about tech advancements. I think tech advancing is always cool, and there's
yeah.
always like, oh, some new cool thing. Like it has advanced from basically 10 to 20 seconds of interaction to multiple minutes of interaction, right? And so if you have multiple minutes, let's call it four, right? Because it's probably something like that. Now you want to make a video game that gives people unlimited, not unlimited, but like gives people like, 40 hours of gameplay, maybe 30 hours of gameplay, right? From 5 minutes to 30, I'll let you do the math on that. That's a lot of multiples, right? That's many multiples that you have to improve the tech in order to even begin to think about providing game, right? And that's where I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. Like I just don't see it getting there,
I I
knowing what we know about the technology, right? In general, right?
I think the people we're gonna see it in bite size uh, uh development. Right? There'll be elements of a
Maybe,
game that will use some of this tech.
maybe.
It won't
Um,
simulate the whole game, but there'll be a part of the game where a
I
developer
mean, right
utilizes
now,
it.
yeah. So right now, like, so I went to an event recently, and I'll just leave it at that. I went to like an AI event,
Mhm.
where people were talking about AI in games. I don't because I
Did Zuckerberg offer you
they're
a big pay
doing
package?
no, no. Dude, if that was true, I
You
would
would
be like,
not
hey,
be here.
I'm Ray Graham. I'm an engineer at Meta. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what you'd be hearing, right? Like,
yeah,
yeah, no, but no, that's not happening.
yeah.
But no, but I went to this event, and it was like people making games that like are fully integrating AI and LLMs into the game and into the gameplay, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like
yeah.
making objects, complex object interactions, NPC. There's a guy doing like D&D dungeons, things like that, right? Like, so the AI's taking over the role of the dungeon master, right?
Mm.
So like a lot of cool things, right? And even these guys who are like at the forefront, right, are saying how like, it's still not perfect. They still got a long way to go, right? And
What is that time
and the
frame
one
in terms of long
and
way
the
of that?
that's the
How
thing.
many years are we talking
That's
about?
that's the thing. I don't know if any of their stuff ever gets to the holy grail of what they want, right? Like it does things that's kind of cool now, right? But will it get to the perfect utopia that everybody envisions?
Right now, it's very markety,
It's
right?
still unknown. It's still unknown. The other thing that though was interesting is what they mentioned is that what they're doing now, they have to be very, very careful with cost. Because a lot of them they're not running their own models. They're going through services like OpenAI and Anthropic and Google and all of those, right? Using their API to get data back. And you get charged per interaction, right? Token length and the number of messages you're sending. And so these games are getting popular, and they're like, oh,
Wrong.
we have to start charging more because we're getting charged a ton of money by OpenAI and these guys, right? And they're assuming that the cost will come down as the technology continues to improve. And I think that is like not necessarily true, right? Um, like it'll come down a little bit, but will it come down enough where you are now running a profitable business? Not sure, right? And it shocks me that not more people are just like, hey, some of the stuff we're doing, like you don't need an open AI server rack, and you don't need AMD like NVIDIA graphics cards and a rack of graphics cards to do this stuff. I'm surprised not enough people are thinking about how can we do this with a local model, which will reduce the cost drastically, right? There's examples of people doing this already, right? Using an open source model, fine tune it with whatever data you need, and then you can run that locally on a lot of different hardware, right? And so now you don't have to do these expensive calls, right? And it's shocking to me that at AI and games talk and cost gets brought up, no one is like, yeah, like we need to talk about running local models, right? It's
What's
like
the what
what are we doing? But what's holding people back from that is like they're just like, oh, I don't want to have to like you have to hire people that know what they're doing, right? Maybe one or two, because if especially if your use case is not that crazy, a couple of people probably can make it happen, couple experienced people. But now you're competing with your boy Zuck and his pay packages, right? And OpenAI their pay packages and Google and their pay packages, and they're like, let me just call the API and then worry about my product. But the cost is not going to come down.
we're very much
Um,
in a bubble right now. For and
well, 100%, 100%, yeah,
a lot of people are more focused on creating a product to
yeah.
sell off. Bef- not a finished product, but like the idea, a potential product. They're selling ideas of it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And and so there really isn't a need to realize anything right now.
Yeah.
And
I
like you said, like all of the guys who are forefront of this are either doing their own thing or working with Zuck. And how much innovation can there be? You know, if you're not part of the system already,
hmm
and if wherever you're just on the fringe, which you're kind of saying that you know you're not doing this in your own local
Yeah.
ways, then you're not really pushing the envelope, right?
Well,
Uh,
you're also at the mercy. You're at the mercy of the services that you're using,
right.
right?
It's the
And
same
so
group.
like
Yeah.
their EULAs will change overnight, and then you end up with like a Unity runtime fee situation kind of thing, right? Where it's like, what? You
Mm.
now you're charging me this? This is
Yeah.
ridiculous, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just kind of crazy. I don't want to come across like sounding like a AI hater,
No,
which
no,
I'm not.
no, I
I'm
don't think
not.
so.
Uh,
What
I would say like I
caution,
think that
man?
there's things that I actually am I'm excited about ways of where it could actually help accelerate game development in ways that you retain creative control, where you can actually get your workflows accelerated, right? There's a lot of tedious and mundane things that we do, right, that should just be automated away. Um, and AI can help in those things, right? Help solve some of those actually really hard problems, right? That help make your flow better, right? I've used AI to generate code, right?
Which is the
And
best right now?
what? Oh, for code, I think Claude has been
Honest,
amazing. Yeah, especially like Unreal code. And when I say Claude has been amazing, it still generates code that does not compile very regularly, right? So if you understand where the technology is at, right? Like it still generates code that doesn't compile, right? Right? So and so that's something that when you hear people talk about vibe coding and all this kind of stuff, right? And really the big proponents of it, right? It still generates code that does not compile, let alone code that does the right thing, right? And so
Does it
that's
have
why
to
a lot
do with because I've been reading
that's
this a lot, like
yeah.
with like Unreal coding, especially like right now,
Yeah.
because it's kind of like what you're saying when it's not
Yeah.
localized. Like there's no connections to the project. It's not referencing the correct stuff.
Well,
Is that part of
well,
it or?
so I'm gonna give a shout out to to my boy Andy over at Ramen VR, right? Because they're actually working on something to solve that problem
Oh,
so that the AI can actually learn or know about the context of your project, right? But that's still susceptible to the basic technology of the LLMs, right? Where you have to have a large context window so it could retain that information so that when it's guessing, it can make the right guesses, right? But when you're telling it, hey, call this and hook up to this and do this, right? A lot of times it's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm just going to do this other thing. And then, there's situations where you're like, hey, I made a mistake. I was like, hey, you should derive it from this class. And that class, I made a mistake. That class didn't exist.
Mhm.
But then the AI took me at my word and just
Just made
generated that
something up.
code, no problem, right? You know what I mean? Right.
Yeah.
So, and it does stupid things like take something that could just be a variable in a function call and change it into a switch statement, right?
Mhm.
For no reason, right?
Yeah.
So like everything that it generates, you have to vet and make sure it's doing the right thing,
So
right?
it very much still needs a lead. So it's like
Yeah.
a very smart
But
intern
yeah, but
still. All right.
sometimes, yeah, but sometimes if you're going crazy with that and you have to like vet everything, sometimes it might just be faster for
To
you
do it
just to
yourself.
bang
Yeah.
out the code, you know what I mean? Because the number one, and that's another thing I've been thinking about recently is like the number one thing that is the bottleneck to a feature getting landed or something getting done is not the code typing. The code typing is actually a very small part of the problem. It's more like the thinking and like how am I gonna, and if you're doing it in the context of a big company, then it's also like getting buy-in and convincing people and all of that stuff, all of the political stuff, all of the talking parts are way more time consuming than actually writing the code, right? And we are doing a lot of stuff to try to optimize the code writing part, but like that's not
Nothing.
the bottleneck, right? Yeah.
It's just like in terms of right now there's just so much coming out with AI stuff.
Yeah.
Um it's a lot of gimmicking stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm sure they're good people that you met at the convention. Just people just like on the fringe of AI game development, right? Just like,
People are passionate about it,
well,
and
they're
want,
figuring things out and we need that group, right?
yeah,
But
yeah,
what have you seen? Not just, you spoke a little bit to the practical side of things, just helping you with like an assistant, right? Helping
yeah,
you code.
yeah,
But what have you seen that have been completely flip your idea of game development potentially, right? For me, when I saw the Genie 3 stuff, I was like, whoa. So I just to be
yeah.
clear, right? I don't think it's a replacement for art, right? I do
Sure,
see
sure.
it as like, this is a tool where potentially if it is fully realized, like the Matrix, I'm just like fantasizing about that, right? Like the
Yeah,
potential, like this really does change you how you approach the
yeah,
development,
yeah,
right? Have you seen anything like that from your side? This you have your hands in these cookie jars, more cookie jars than I am with the AI
yeah.
stuff. Like, have you seen anything that you're like, this will change something
No,
in the next year or
no.
two,
I
or
just
small
think
and big things?
yeah, I think the commoditization of the technology, right? Like the fact that it's like in everything now, is going to change how people do things in general, right? But then also there's a lot of snake oil and there's a lot of hype, right?
So,
And so like I'm always trying to be the more sensible person, right? Like somebody's like this my son wants to be a software engineer, and now I'm telling them that maybe they shouldn't because AI might just take their job.
yeah,
And I'm like AI might take the job of like a junior engineer, maybe, right? I'm still not sold, right? Because it might be faster to just have a junior engineer do the thing, right? You know what I mean? Rather than you tell an AI, and the AI is kind of like a bad junior programmer that
academia,
doesn't learn, that doesn't actually learn.
doesn't
It doesn't
retain.
learn.
Yeah,
Yeah, right. So like maybe like
starts lying
that's
to you
yeah,
when it isn't them.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. And so like that's where I'm just like I think you're crazy, right? So and I think you might be a little bit too hyped on it if you're saying stuff like that. But like seeing how it can actually accelerate people's workflow, like see how, Google Workspace, a lot of the AI features in there are super helpful, right? And I've seen like AI agents do code reviews and fix this crazy thing. You're in a matrix where like code AI will generate code and then another AI agent will read the code and be like, this don't work and then fix it.
Ah, why don't you buddy up with this guy? Buy this company.
Right.
You guys work
Uh,
together, figure this out before you give me bad
just yeah,
compiling errors.
just AI eating itself, right? But so like, all of those things are kind of cool, right? But at the same time, we have to like tamper that with the right amount of enthusiasm. And right now it's definitely a bubble. Like if you are making a video game, you want money, just say you're doing some AI stuff in it
Yeah.
and you're off to the races, right? So, you know, um that's it's I'm also seeing it with the kids, right? Like, so, I also teach kids how to make video games. And I got asked the question because we were talking about AI policy at this program. And, somebody asked us like, oh, well, can I use it like as Google? And I'm like, okay, you're not hearing me. It is not Google.
Mm-hmm.
It will, although Google has its AI summary thing,
Mm-hmm.
which is often very wrong,
Yeah.
right? Like a lot of times the AI summary that Google spits out today, right now, as a product is wrong a
Yeah.
lot of times,
Yeah.
right? So is like ChatGPT returning you your search results, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then you actually have to vet and verify that that information is actually correct,
Yeah.
right? And so like just the fact that kids are using it as a Google replacement because it gives you an answer faster because you don't have to sort through all the
Quickly.
the
Yeah.
wrong links that Google's returning and the ads and all the
Oh crap.
spam and all that stuff, right? It's returning you a result very fast, but the quality of that result is probably not very good or has a high chance of not being good, right?
Welcome
And
to
if the
the internet.
kids and if the kids just take exactly, and if the kids just take it at face value and put it in a paper or something like that, which has happened numerous times, right? This is already happening, right? Um, with infactual information in it, like what
Oh
are we doing?
no! Like we're gonna be
Yeah.
talking to people with bad information all the time. You're describing everyday
Like
life here.
well, you're laughing. You're saying it's everyday life, right? But imagine like AI can make it much much worse if we don't use our critical thinking skills, right? Like it could be much worse, right, than
I
it is
definitely
now.
see critical thinking skills being
Yeah.
gone, disappearing even for the younger generation.
Very fast. Yeah,
Very
it's
fast.
vanishing
It's
very fast. Yeah.
vastly.
Yeah.
I mean, you bring up the interesting point. I mean, that's the full ethics of
Yeah.
and lasting impact of AI. Like if
Yeah.
AI is kind of held on to as like this absolute truth, then there's no reason to question it when it spits you an answer so quickly and conveniently.
Yeah.
And then with people's confidence in their own opinion being so high that there's gonna be like
Yeah.
this strongly opinionated groups of people that gets their
Yep.
opinions from megacorp Zuckerberg, and it's not even their own. It's fed to them.
Yeah.
That's
And
scary.
really the only thing that has to happen is folks need to be more vigilant and just more on it when it
More
comes to
more common sense. Uh,
yeah. And just be mindful that the current technology is not infallible. Like sometimes it's like magic. Like
it's
it's
basically
yeah, sometimes it does stuff and it's like magic, right? And at the same time, people are in real danger of losing jobs over it and all this kind of stuff, right? And it really does some amazing things. At the same time,
it's a
it's
multiplier for sure.
yeah, it can also be like very, very wrong. And then you're in a spiral, right? I cannot tell you how many students' code I have fixed or I have had to look at
Because it was
because
AI generated.
they vibe coded it and then it was not working and they did not know what to do, right?
What's
And
vibe coding
it's
for the non-fluent? Is that just like feeling it, or just
yeah,
is it a program?
No, it's basically just like you go to like ChatGPT or whatever or Google Copilot. You're like, hey, give me this,
Oh,
right? And you just let it do its thing and generate your project for you and generate your thing for you, right? And you're just like, yep. It was
good
started as a
enough.
joke.
Yeah.
It was started as a joke, right? Because people were like, I'm vibe coding. This is so ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
And it somehow caught on. And then then all the LinkedIn influencers
Are using it.
are using it and talking about how it's helping them make their product from 0 to 60. I can know there's no longer an excuse for you to not build something, right? Like all that kind of nonsense, right? But yeah, like so vibe, like I've had students vibe code and then still need me to help them fix it because it doesn't work, right? And and I'm like,
Well, what
you could
happens when you're
use
not
you
around to
could
fix it?
exactly
What's
you
with
could
these
use
young group of
AI.
programmers?
You could use AI as long as you know what
What's
you're doing.
doing to check it? Yeah.
Do not allow AI to replace your
Or
fundamentals, right? Fundamental programming skills, fundamental architecture, like all these things you still need, right? Obviously, because here's a whole project that is like a mess, right? And doesn't work, right? And it's happened so many times. Like I can't even tell you how many times it happened, right?
well, let me uh vibe check you real quick. Um, so I mean, we talked about this a long time. I mean,
Yeah.
the remote thing overall, I'm gonna say, uh, the remote thing have destroyed our industry.
No,
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 I'm. Let me
no,
tell you. Let me break
no.
it down to you. Right,
I don't believe it.
the old guards, such as yourself and others, are fine. Right, we benefit greatly from the remote stuff. The youngsters are disappearing very fast. Right, because now what's going on with the AI stuff is that I'm seeing this too,
Mhm.
even on the art stuff. It's like, do I really
Yeah.
need to hire a guy to make 3D stuff anymore? Right? Or can I just use this AI tool to make it so much faster? It's the way I like it
You
without the
can't
back
you
and
can't
forth.
make you can't use AI to make 3D. It's
It's
all
getting there.
ass.
It's getting there.
It's all ass.
It
It's all
is getting
terrible.
there, dude.
It's
It
all
is
terrible.
scarily
And you
close. It's
no,
like
and
good enough. You do
you as a
vibe-arding, dude.
3D
I'm vibe-arding stuff now. Yeah, it's fine.
you as a 3D modeler yourself. I know you make 3D models yourself.
Yeah, but this is where I'm seeing like
The models that come out of this stuff looks good? Is that what
no,
you're telling me?
what I'm saying is we're
Okay.
seeing the infancy of all these tools, right? Especially art
Yeah.
tools. There is a, there's no dead end to the art tools. I can see it just progressing to a point where it's fine, right? Uh, and so
Put it in
like
the back. Put it in the
put it in the
back.
back, it's fine. But like what I'm saying is that there's this disappearing class of young develop like you said yourself, like junior developers for coding and art are having a toughest
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
getting jobs, especially if the studio's all remote, right? And if
Mhm.
they do happen to get into remote, right? Even if you're a junior, even if you're like a 15-year vet, they are the first one on the block to get cut. It's so much easier to lay off someone you never met, right? So like the structure right now of
Well,
the industry is very
that's where I
bad.
call into question the whole setup, right?
Yeah.
Because you said it's easier to cut somebody you never met, right?
Yeah.
And I think like there are people that just say, "Hey, remote, I could just never meet you,
Yeah.
and we don't never ever need to work together, and we could just work
Well,
remotely."
meet in person.
Those people are idiots,
Okay.
right? Every last one of them. I
Yeah.
also say that out loud, right? Anybody that does it for real and does remote for real talks about, okay, how do we get together
Yeah.
at certain intervals,
Mm.
right, to grow those bonds and create those connections and all that kind of stuff, right? It just turns out that that's expensive, right, to
Yeah.
do that, right?
I don't know if you heard, but the industry
But
is kind
people
of
do
going through
this.
something right now. There's no
But people do
money.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but people do this, right? And the people that really believe in remote make it work for them, you know? But like I said, I think there is just like a backlash in general happening with a lot of the executive level folks that are like, nah, you need to bring your tail in here. I need to make good games and I need you to be here. And that's how we make good games. We're all here together all the time. And that's just, I think it's outdated thinking. I think there's some
Or the
truth to,
older folks such as yourself. I will
There's
say
some
this.
truth to being together
Yeah,
when you need to be together.
of
And
course.
there's also, and I'm also like a programmer, right? And so there's definitely times where I'm like, leave me the hell alone,
Yeah, or leave time
right?
alone.
And so like, like I think you have to know how to measure that and when you need to come together to do
Yeah,
that
I
push,
think
right?
with the experienced team,
Mhm.
right, that are able to self manage,
I'm not
right?
even I'm not even okay, I'm not even buying that, right? I'm not even buying it, right? Because for youth that
Well,
are hard to self no, listen to me, right?
yeah,
Youth that are
I
hard
was
to self-manage, you just fire them. You just get them out if they're not doing their
goodbye, young
job, right?
generation of
Well,
developers.
you do, right? But
Yeah,
there's if you're serious, I know a lot of young people that are serious about
yeah,
working, right? They have more, I'm more concerned about older people,
oh yeah,
right? Because when you're at home,
it's both sides.
you have
Yeah,
a lot of distractions, right? If
yeah,
you have a family and you have kids and you have all these things, you have to go pick up the kid, you got to go to the grocery store,
yeah,
right? There's things that pull you away from work. If you're like, there's a lot of young dudes out here, a lot of young, no, I shouldn't just say dudes, but like there's a lot of young kids out here that are about that grind, right?
yeah.
And the ones that are not are the ones that are just gonna get like just chopped. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Yeah.
I still feel that a lot of these studios that I feel like the youngsters have to be in the office all the time. They have to. And they have to have that
Sure.
mentor right alongside them in the first year or two.
Yes. That's far more valuable,
They need to
right?
foster. But like people like us
Yes.
say, hey,
Yeah.
I burned my stripes. I'm gonna work from home. Like no one wants to come in and mentor these kids. That's the thing. The mentorship, the hovering art director was a joke before, but now it's like absolutely necessary for the younger
Yeah.
generation. But nobody wants to show up at the office and they just want to clock in, do our work, clock out, which I get if it's about the work. Once every 3 months getting is not enough for these young kids to develop. And I'm seeing this whole group being skipped over for mid-level or higher to get a
Sure.
game done, right?
Yeah.
And I've been saying this for a few years now that it's a disciplinary group. And if you do that, you cannibalize your own. It's like this long argument about living forever, right? Like, it's a real thing. You talk about like these like Zucks and billionaires that all they're about uh main focus besides like running the company is like finding the wonder drug so they can live to 200, right? And like there's so many sci-fi ethical arguments against that because the people who live forever are most likely just rich people and they will always be in power, right? That's the problem. Is like they'll never give that up because I'm more wise, I'm richer than you, I have more years. Why would I step aside and let you take over? Which is very it cannibalizes the whole side. So in the game industry, same thing. If this young
I,
group that's gone,
I'll just to interrupt you. In
uh,
Time, the
uh,
movie In Time, I highly recommend. But anyway, continue.
is that the Justin Timberlake movie? Which one?
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's exactly about what you're talking about, by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
But
So it's a
yeah,
real thing. But like I'm
yeah.
seeing like this young group. Who's gonna take over the industry when me and you are done? I don't see that class. Who is that group?
I mean,
I don't see it.
I mean, I see, like I said, I see
We're
some
like
young,
we're phasing the like you said. It's both sides, right? It's a super veterans and the younger, like we're the middle class right now in terms of
yeah.
the
I'll say
development team.
this. I'll just say this. I do Game Heads Oakland every summer, every year. Most of my Saturdays, I'm dealing with kids
Yeah,
in the video game industry. We have been going on a run of posting how many students from Game Heads have gotten jobs in the industry.
yeah.
So this is where I'll toot the horn, my
Shoot it,
own horn,
shoot it.
but also the horn of KVS Oakland, right? Because we are feeding youth into
Good
this
thing.
industry,
Yeah,
even during this time where it is like hard out there. We have students that are getting jobs at video game companies, Sledgehammer, PlayStation, Microsoft, right? They're all landing in places and getting jobs in the industry. Juniors, like fresh out of school,
yeah.
some of them are getting internships because they still need to get like some reps under their belt. Some of them have full-time jobs, right? And that's why we do it, right? Is so that we can build that base of young talent coming into the industry because it is like when I came in, the
Without,
old heads.
yeah,
I had some help. There's some people that stand out, but there's a lot of people that do not stand out, right? And did not at all want to help. You know what I mean? And that's why I do what I do,
yeah.
right? Is so that we could keep that pipeline going. Um, so like and I see that. And I also see that, like, when I go to GDC, I see a lot of youth, looking for jobs, sure, but also like super interested in making games. Some of them making indie games. A lot of them just like say, hey, screw it, I'm just gonna
Okay.
do it. You know what I mean? I see a lot of that, right? But yeah, like I think the real issue is AAA really not really embracing
That listening.
that so much anymore, right? And I think that is actually to the detriment of the industry because that's you could get a lot of experience as a young person working on a AAA team, you know?
I think it's not just the experience, it's the energy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. They have way more energy than me. I tell you that right now.
well, I mean, that's what what I've noticed
Yeah.
is like the jaded like developers, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of clocking out, getting a paycheck and leave. When they're around younger people like that, they get reminded of the young stuff. I do. Right? I was, oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
man, when I was 20,
Mm-hmm.
crunching wasn't so bad. Like I loved it. That's all I wanted to do. And we are lucky to be in this industry, right? Doing the things that we do. Um, I think it's true for every job or industry that balance
Mm-hmm.
kind of helps move things forward. And I think right now, a lot of the problems that we're having is this like very corporate heads, older guys kind of run through, uh, still kind of keeping the shelter up. And we're kind of like collapsing under our own weight of negativity and and all that crap that's happened, right? And we're cannibalizing ourselves by doing that, by not introducing new blood into the environment, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I kind of feel I know there's some companies that you've been a part of, right? And there are companies out there that are doing remote correctly, but most aren't, is what I'm saying. Like I feel like most aren't. And they're doing a terrible job. And I think overall, I preferred how it was. And this guy who is working remotely all the time, before it
Yeah.
was cool, and I definitely see the beneficial part of it, but like I think that it's so much easier for people. The convenience of working remote is also an inconvenience of working remote. Like I can turn off my computer and I'm done with work. Like I don't have to
Yeah.
think about work. I don't think about the collapse of the studio. I don't have to think about that guy in the corner crying about do I have a job next week because I'm like I'm done with
Yeah.
it. You know,
No, I would say one that you are one of those you are also probably a slacker if that's true, right? Because people that are like dialed in, when they turn that computer off, even if they're at home or not,
and make it magic. Yeah.
the
Oh,
brain, the brain's going. The brain's going, right? Or
I'm
you don't even
sorry,
want to
man.
turn off. You don't
It's
even want to turn
10%.
off the computer.
What's
You
the
know what I
80/20
mean?
rule? That's 20%. You
Right?
think 80% of the industry is like
Hey,
that? 20%.
I'm just saying, right? Like that is not necessarily the thing. And I think you're also discounting the main what you're talking like is a boss,
Yeah.
right? You want to retain control, right? Get it. I get it. I understand. However, right, the real main benefit is those bonds that form, right? People being close
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
people understanding, knowing how people because when you don't meet somebody, you're just talking to them over the thing. It's like, oh man, that person's an idiot, right? And then then you hang out with them, and you're like, oh well, they're not
Yeah,
so
we
bad
we
after,
had the benefit
right?
of hanging out with each other waiting for this, but I can tell through your eyes. So you're thinking of me more of an idiot every time
Yeah,
we meet
yeah, yeah.
online.
No, but like just you know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah, the
where you get the
realness.
huge benefits, right? And it's also sometimes like you're able to accelerate things when you're close together, right? And so, but
Yeah,
if you already know what you're doing and
jamming.
you're yeah, if you already know what you're doing, you're executing, you don't need to be together. Yeah,
Yeah, the game jamming element, I think it's super important to the younger
yeah,
generation than the older ones. But like,
yeah,
uh, I mean, it'd be interesting to see these studios that are trying to get people back to it. I don't think there's a major studio right now that 100%, right? I think it's still very hybrid. There's a push that.
hmm yeah. It's a lot
Um,
like the big studios are still very much hybrid right now, and there's some that are like, yeah, now you got to bring your tail in here every day, you
there are
know?
some,
Yeah.
but not. I don't know a studio that's doing it 100%. But it'd be interesting to see if one studio does do that and seeing what kind of success it did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. It's about an hour. I want to wrap things up. There's a lot to go over, but I think we can kind of pay the major issues in the last couple of months. Uh, it's good to kind of hear your opinions and yeah stuff. There's a
Yeah.
lot of speculation.
Yeah. 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 I mean, I could be speculating too, but
But yeah, I mean, at least you're a programmer. I mean, the main
I
thing that
feel
everyone's
I
talking
feel
about is
pretty
like, can I
strongly about it though.
make
Yeah.
game button right now? It's like you're saying no. And it basically, a good
Yeah.
assistant. Um,
Yeah. But on like, and here's the thing, I was like working on tech to try to make game button,
yeah,
right? And I think there's parts of it that are possible, but it's also like extremely difficult, especially once you get into complex make game things, or if you want to get into like you know things that can be composable and modified and like code that is structured in a very particular way, right? That's when it starts getting really hard. Because you could tell LLM, hey, give me a Unity player controller that I can jump and I can run. Oh my God, this is like magic. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But that's kindergarten level,
yeah.
right? That's not real.
It
So
seems like the main thing you're saying is
yeah,
like the current pay model of of using these big AI platform is not uh uh cannot result into a full fledged game because we're reliant on
like
networking to talk
y-
and bring back, and
yeah,
it's not retaining because of that. It's not
it's
retaining
the
information.
context window. Yeah, yeah. And it's like these LLMs are a big probability machine, right? And so they're doing like here's the most plausible next thing that should be right.
Just
And
guess.
that's where
Yeah.
the hallucinations come in.
Right.
And we call them hallucinations because it's like it's a cool thing to think that it's actually thinking and it's just like kind of like off.
Make
Uh,
shit
but
up.
but those are just errors, like straight up.
Like
It's just
bullshitting.
wrong. It's just wrong.
It sounds like
Yeah,
me and you need to make a bullshit AI
yeah.
that is like a buddy system that just flags it as it compiles. So you
Yeah.
save some time. It's like, oh, bullshit meter. Oh, someone's got to steal it. You laugh about it, but that's
Man.
$1 billion idea right there that Zuck
Yeah,
wants to
yeah,
buy.
yeah. Man, ship it, man. Ship it. Sign up for A16Z, man.
All
You
right.
got it.
All right.
Mhm.
Done. Well, I want to thank everybody. Welcome back, Ray. Welcome back,
Yes, thank you.
everybody. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed and hit us up, on X. It's X now. Right? It's long enough.
No, it's Twitter, bro. It's Twitter. Still Twitter.
At Ray, at myself. Share your opinions and everywhere else. Jump on our Discord. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
All right. Yeah. Dude, are you on some medication? Is your tongue swollen or something? Or because you're like, oh, la, 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 la.